I slightly deviated from the conventional phrase which was being used about India, that we are a country where there is cooperative federalism. And I had, within the first few months itself, started saying that in addition to being cooperative federalism, India is also competitive federalism. The future will be competitive federalism because it's not merely the center-state relations, but it is states and states competing against each other in order to attract investment. And my experience of these several global investor meets that I have seen across the country increasingly persuades me that this is what the future is going to be. There are, of course, downsides of this also, because those who don't reform, the people in those states are going to be at a disadvantageous position, and those who are in a position to offer a more favorable economic, business and political environment to the investors certainly are states which are going to benefit. Reform or perish couldn't be more true than it is today. The investors, we must all bear in mind, are not philanthropists. They are business people. And for every rupee or dollar of investment that they make, they weigh each possibility. They take several factors into consideration which influence their investment decisions. And therefore, if there is an environment of paralysis in a given state, policies are not reforming, the investor doesn't feel induced enough to invest there. But if some state becomes a happening state as you are aspiring to be, there is a natural attraction that the investing community will find himself in to invest there. Stability in terms of policy, predictability in terms of policy, the overall attitude of not merely the government, but various political formulations, because governments can change also. And with change of government, you don't want a complete U-turn in terms of policy. And therefore, these are all factors the investors will weigh. If a particular state gets an image of its ethics and integrity standards not being very high, its investments will suffer. If decision making is slow, investment will suffer. If taxation structures are very unreasonable and unpredictable, investments will suffer. And therefore, in order to make sure that investment, which is the starting point of economic activity, it will lead to job creation, it will lead to profitability for the investors, that in turn will lead to an enriched revenue with the state so that it's able to create better infrastructure, better facilities in the state itself. I think we have to all gear up in every state for a future where we then become the best possible targets as far as an investment is concerned. India itself as a country today has some natural advantages. It has a natural advantage of the fact that when the world is slowing down, India is still able to maintain respectable rates of growth. When global investors are today looking at India, They look at a fact where global growth has slowed down, but India still maintains amongst the large economies the highest growth rate in the world. So obviously there is an increased economic activity, so people are looking at India. India also has a very large market. We house 1/6 of the global population, and therefore whoever invests in India looks at the size of the market that he's going to address. We have a large human resource, and therefore to get a talent pool itself is an advantageous situation. And then within India, when the investor walks in, what is it that the investor is going to look at if he looks at a state like Haryana?